All right. Bonus episode. This is our philosophy episode.
Cheer!
Ro, take it away. What are we doing?
What's up, everybody? You know what it is. Rose Gold in the building, a.k.a. Romero. It's your boy. Back on Don't Evolve Me podcast. And here we are going to talk about something very interesting. The show in itself.
Yep.
See. So, first off, what we do over at the Symposium podcast, y'all go check that out. We do check-ins. Basically, just seeing how we've been doing since we last seen one another. How are you, dude?
I'm good.
Yeah? What's been going on? What's new?
Also, this is just the cold open, by the way.
Oh, shit. Fuck this shit, man. Let's just cut to the...
Say the words.
Cue the music.
Welcome to Don't Evolve Me, the place like Ash catching Pikachu. We don't evolve, we just level up, and that's exactly what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
The philosophy, the meaning behind that phrase right there, the title, Don't Evolve Me, what it means to not evolve. And I've explained this a few times. I think I explained it on your show, the Symposium podcast.
Yep.
With me is Romero, Green, Romero, Arizona Green.
Oh, y'all know the vibes.
T. I completely forgot something.
Huh.
You were coming. I should have made more.
That's okay.
Romero ain't your middle name, Green.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Nice. That's all right. There's
That
always
was
more.
right on the top of the head.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I everything else has to be on top of the head because I did not write it anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, when have they ever? Your best ones have been off top of the dome.
Yeah.
So,
in the moment. So, we're talking philosophy. Ro, take it away. What are we talking about here? Because I did not make an outline for this.
well, the man said it himself. We are touching on Don't Evolve Me, literally the name of the show. I hit my man, Jake, because he's like, come back on the pod. And I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. And then he said, what should we talk about? And I was like, what about Don't Evolve Me? I asked the question, explain your philosophy behind Don't Evolve Me real quick.
Yeah, so the philosophy of Don't Evolve Me. I feel like there has to be a huge history take on it.
Yeah. Let's run it. Let's run it back.
Okay. So the history of the show, how I got the idea. One, about 2.5 years ago, I had the idea for doing a streaming show for Pokemon Go because it's something I did constantly, all the time.
Right.
And while I was trying to come up with names and ideas, I drew a picture, which is a picture that I've shared on the site, and on the tagline or the slogan was "Don't Evolve Me," and that really just resonated with me.
Mm-hmm.
For the idea that like my entire childhood, my entire like growing up to where I'm at now, as an individual with ADHD, I'm often told to grow up. Evolve, mature. And it always felt forced, like I level up as a person. I evolve naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Like we all do. We all naturally level up. We all naturally grow. But it always felt like since I was always kind of behind my peers,
mm-hmm.
I was also, I was born in April. And usually people, when you grow up, your class that you go to school with, right? The starting age is usually, like the birth dates are somewhere between September and August. Those are usually the oldest in your grade class. And then, so an April birthday, I'm usually the youngest in my graduating class. I'm one of the younger kids.
Uh-huh.
So I'm already that behind. I'm male, females mature faster. Plus ADHD. It took me forever to move out of. Like, I was the last one to like Pokemon. I was the last one to like Yu-Gi-Oh! I remember being 10, 12, wanting to play in playgrounds, and all the kids are like, oh yeah, that's for babies. We don't do that anymore. And I was like the kid who played.
Mm-hmm.
So there was always a sense of like, evolve, grow up. And then I look at adults, and I'm guilty of this now as an adult. But like, I'd go play. I'd be in a pool. We would be in a fun place, and my parents would just sit there and talk.
Yeah.
Ironic. We're talking and sitting.
How about that? Yeah.
On a podcast, talking about how So like the idea, like there was this idea that like I didn't want to evolve into that. I didn't want to evolve into this boring, serious person.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like the world is constantly telling me, grow up, evolve, do this. Mm-hmm. So as I like aged into an adult, I kind of did the inverse a little bit. Because as a ADHD like teenager, I kind of was sheltered. I was like in a shell of myself. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to like generally interact with people my age. I liked what I liked. And most people kind of like moved off to doing more mature things.
Yeah.
I really only like relate to people through sports. Mm-hmm. That's really how I related to people. And even then, like my teammates, we weren't like that close because like what I was into was considered immature. Like I was into Pokemon. And then of course Pokemon came back in the middle of high school when I was like a junior, and all the seniors are like, oh, we're gonna play Pokemon now. It's like, the fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the idea was like, even when I'm an adult, I got really into my nerdy stuff because I was out of my parents' house. I just got a relationship, and this person I was in a relationship with was very, no, you can't have like superhero stuff. You can't, like, she still gave me like superhero clothes and stuff like that for like gifts and stuff, like support it that way, but didn't want to be very like out forward with it. Yeah. I remember getting Superman cover seats for my car. Looks sick. Looks sweet. And she's like, you're never driving to my parents' house or my family ever again. That's like what she stated. Wow. And it's just, the idea is like, I always just wanted to be me. I wanted to nerd out. I wanted to be what I'm into without being told, grow up, essentially. Mm-hmm. So the whole idea and philosophy of Don't Evolve Me is telling the world like, hey, don't evolve me. Don't change me or try to make me be something that I'm not. I am still a kid at heart. I'm still into nerdy stuff. I'm still into what I'm into, and I want to be into those things. Don't evolve me. Don't make me be not into those things. Don't force me to evolve.
Sure.
So that's the whole idea behind Don't Evolve Me.
All of those things are legit, and also thank you for sharing the history of it, like circling back to that. So knowing that information, I presented the question, it's like, okay, so you don't want to grow up the way that people are forcing that upon you, right?
Like society naturally forces upon you.
Yeah. So then what about the opposite? What about evolving the way that you want to evolve? Because leveling up is one thing. To me, I'd say that as like, okay, you're learning a skill, or you're building yourself up, you're working on yourself in some shape or form. Tight. But what about you getting to a place in your mind where it's like, all right, I finally achieved what I wanted. I've become the person I truly wanted to become.
Yeah. Well, here's the difference between Pokemon and humans.
Right.
We don't evolve in like matters of seconds. Mm-hmm. You know, we evolve over a course of time. We only level up. And we only see our evolution in moments, right? We only see our evolution in like time periods. So like, think of yourself 20-year-old Ro compared to your Ro now.
Very different.
You evolved probably several times in that process. But if you took it step by step by step, you don't see the evolution, right? Part of leveling up is part of evolving. Just like in the game, you need to level up before you can evolve. Mm-hmm. In real life, like, you don't evolve, and it's not like a overnight change, or even a second change. Like, it takes a long period of time for the evolution to be complete.
What about, because of the show, what about Pokemon who need assistance in terms of evolving? Take Jigglypuff, for example. Jigglypuff needs a Moonstone to evolve.
No, that's Clefairy.
No.
Yeah, it's Clefairy.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Mount Moon, Clefairies. Still, point still is relevant.
Whatever, they're all pink.
Unless you're making a Jigglypuff type reference here.
No, I'm not. But, yeah. Or even Eevee. Eevee can evolve in, like, multiple forms, but if it wanted to be a certain one, it would need a very specific stone.
Yes, for most of them. Or For some of them.
For some of them.
It really depends on which game you're playing. Let's just take the original Gen 1s.
Yeah. No, we're keeping it old school. So
yeah, if you want your EV to evolve, you have to evolve it into, Vaporeon, Jolteon, or Flareon. You need a Water, Thunder, or Firestone for them to evolve. I guess the idea would work because, like, you still choose. The idea of, like, don't evolve me, and you're evolving yourself. You're the one who chooses the stone. Whereas society often, like Ash. Let's go back a little bit with the history of the anime.
Yeah,
because this is where the idea comes from. The slogan is, or like Ash catches Pikachu. We don't evolve. We just level up.
Right.
In the anime, the Pokemon anime, Ash a few times has the opportunity to evolve his Pikachu. And his Pikachu needs a Thunderstone to do so. Here's the thing. The trainer can force that evolution. If you touch the Thunderstone to Pikachu, you can make it evolve. And during this episode, he wanted to get the Viridian gym badge. I'm pretty sure it's Viridian. It's either Vermilion or Viridian. I think it's Vermilion. Vermilion is the Lieutenant Surge. So he's trying to get the Vermilion gym badge. And Lieutenant Surge's Pokemon is Raichu.
Yeah.
The evolution of Pikachu. And the only way you can get a Raichu is if you use a Thunderstone. And they've battled for the first time. Pikachu got his ass kicked by Raichu.
Handed to him.
And so Ash wanted Pikachu to evolve to a Raichu so he can win. But Pikachu didn't want it. And that, I feel like, is a really good flaw, or a really good comparison. Because Ash, in this moment, wants to win. That's all he wants. He doesn't care about Pikachu's feelings. At least not initially. He wanted Pikachu to evolve, so he had a better chance at beating Raichu, which is fair. It's like Raichu beats Pikachu more often than not.
Yeah.
Right now, life is like Ash and life are the same. They're forcing upon, because they don't care about Pikachu. They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about Pikachu's feelings. They just want you to evolve to be stronger so they can do better.
Sure.
And that's kind of the metaphor, But Pikachu doesn't want that. Pikachu doesn't want to evolve. Pikachu just wants to be Pikachu. Pikachu can be just as successful if it just levels up and stays itself. So the idea is, if someone's forcing upon you, it's not fair. It's not fair to Pikachu's feelings.
Sure.
I'm also kind of trailing a little bit.
We're still on.
Yeah.
We're still on par. We're still on track. Okay. Well then, in terms of evolving, you've made it very clear as far as not wanting to evolve the way that society wants you to. But then, if you are choosing to evolve, what does that look like for you?
Yeah, so choosing to evolve works also in the Pokemon world too. If you choose to evolve, you need the stone, right? You need to take steps to get to where you need to be. So if you need to level up and then use the stone, which actually I don't think any Pokemon do that, you just need the stone at this point. So you need to take steps. You need to buy the stone. You need to find the stone, buy the stone, or get the stone, and then attach the stone to the Pokemon to evolve. In real life, if you want to evolve, you need to take steps.
Right.
You need to figure out your path, figure out where you need to go, get there, and evolve. That looks different for literally everybody. What does that mean to evolve? Can I share some of your personal news?
Sure.
So, one, congratulations.
Thank you.
Romero's going to be a dad.
Yeah.
You are not a dad yet.
Nope.
You will eventually be a dad.
Yep.
You essentially need to evolve.
Yeah.
Right? That takes steps. You now know what you need to do. You know your goal. You know how to get there. And you're going to take steps to figure out how to be the greatest dad you can be. Most don't take those steps until they actually have the kid, or it's forced upon you. But you're evolving to the best dad that you can be. You can take books on it. You can learn about it. You can do podcasts. Or, like, if you wait till the baby's born, figure out how to take care of the baby. What does the baby need? Does it need clothes? Does it need food? Does it need a diaper change? Does he need to go to sleep? All these different things you need to learn to be the best parent that you can possibly be. It takes time. It takes effort. You don't just evolve into a dad. You have to be a dad. I mean, you get the title of dad, but to be a dad, you have to do the actions.
That's correct. Yeah.
And at a certain point, like now I'm coming year 1 to being a dad, or year like 3 if you consider step parenting. But like I am now a dad. I am now a father. I have evolved to this. It doesn't take time. It's just taking the steps to do so. Essentially, it's finding your stone, but it's more convoluted than that.
Sure. It's not just time, but I mean, you say you take steps. The way I see it is you put in the work.
Yeah.
Like, just even talking about leveling up, right? You don't just stand around and go from 1 to 99.
Exactly.
It's like you train, you bust your ass, and you fail as well.
Yeah.
So there's even self-doubt that comes in there, and it's like, oh, maybe it's not for me. Maybe this isn't going to happen. Mm-hmm. Or in this context, it's like, maybe I'm just not meant to evolve.
That too.
So you have to fight all types of stuff. You got to put in that sort of work. So
yeah, and think about the Pokemon games. Think like the older generations, not the newer generations. I feel like an old person. Not the newer generation.
Not the newer generation.
The older generations.
Back in my day. Yeah. With the red and blue Bloods and Crips.
The Charizards, the Blastoise, and fuck it, we'll throw in the Pikachus in there as well.
Yeah, cuh.
And then in Japan, they got the green foe.
Never played green.
I played leaf green, but I never played green.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Japanese. You wouldn't know what's going on.
Yeah, I would have liked to.
You would have figured it out.
Yeah.
But like in those games, the original games, and I'm only singling those out because they're a lot tougher in difficulty. I'm playing Emerald.
Okay.
As of late. I haven't played it, I haven't focused on it, but here and there I'll play Emerald. And I get my ass kicked in some of the gyms. And I got beat. And I feel like that's kind of like life. You grow up, you level up fast initially.
Yeah.
But then after a while, it takes a while to level up. You have to grind. Like if you face an obstacle or a gym, then you get your ass kicked. You got to come back. You got to reevaluate. What do I need on my team to overcome this obstacle? Mm-hmm. And then, okay, I need to level up. All right, Pokemon aren't powerful enough. All right, I got to level up, go in the grass. Mm-hmm. Put in the work. You put in the grind.
Got to grind.
So you can overcome the obstacle. Or maybe you don't have to grind. You just have to get the right Pokemon to beat the typing. Hey, I need a fire type for the steel gem. Oh, there's a fire type in the in the grass. Well, let's go get the wild or fire type. Build up a little bit. All right, boom. He can beat all the steel easily.
No. So here's a question that I have for you. It's been a year, right, since you started Don't Involve Me? Or close to?
Since I started planning on it, and ever since I decided to do it, it's been a year.
Yeah.
I started in January of 2023. That was the first start date. August 2022 is when I was I put it into the plan. I made a media post saying hey, this is happening in January.
So let's go to that part where it was just a thought.
Yeah.
All the way till now. Tell me about your evolutionary journey.
Ooh, you're coming in hot, Ro. I mean, it's like you have your own podcast. It's like you do this. It's like you've been doing this for the last 3 years. All right. So, the evolution journey of Don't Involve Me. Originally, it was a thought.
Just to be clear, this is lore, motherfuckers. This is lore for you guys.
The lore episode.
The lore episode.
Don't Involve Me lore. All right. So, started with as an idea. Mm-hmm. You're definitely the inspiration because I just got on the Symposium podcast.
Yeah.
Learning how to do it. Learning what you need. And just figuring out how to make this work. You get the microphone, you get the computer, you get the software. And it took weeks just to figure it out. I remember the first episode took me 2 weeks to just edit. Half of it was the ADHD putting it off because it's a scary like task.
Yeah.
And now I can do it within like 10 minutes for the most part. As long as like nothing goes like crazy or weird.
Right.
Most episodes, I mean, you can probably relate to this. Make sure the audio is good. Make sure you can hear everything. Make sure like the tracks sync up so you don't have much space.
Yeah.
The planning, it's funny because like you don't know until you're into it. You don't quite know what you're getting into until you do the podcast, until you start actually doing it, because then those problems arise.
Yeah.
You know, I remember our first couple episodes, we had the desk stand for the mic, and I was sharing you were sharing the one mic with 3 different people, and you're all going to be close, and it was terrible audio because it was on the table that was constantly just like bumping.
You're like, don't bump the table. And it's like, yeah, but
every time. Now it's like, don't bump the booms, and people are like, what?
And I was like,
so evolving, learning what you need, and even now, like I would love more mics. I would love one different mic that's like compatible with
everything.
Yeah, or like just have mics that like work well together. Because the mics I have, they pick up all the sound in the room.
Yeah.
Whereas like the mics that you want are the ones that like specifically do, and you're the one who called that out.
Just from experience.
Yeah.
So
it's like you have a podcast or something.
yeah, I know, right?
Getting a second monitor, very helpful. I don't have to go back and forth constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're having discussion, moving studios.
Yeah.
Because it's hot as balls up here. You don't have central AC in the room. It's actually not as bad as it has been, but it gets super hot up here.
Oh, I bet July was a bitch.
It was. I was sweating so much. But yeah, just like figuring out what you need, evolving, figuring out like what works, what doesn't work. The video game nostalgia series seemed to be a hit, or it was just Tom, one of the two.
Shout out to Tom, man.
Yeah,
Ernie too.
I had him on one episode, and I was like, I like this dude, and I kept bringing him back.
Those are good dudes. They're all punks, though.
Or just, I don't know, just like figuring out what's fun for me, and then figure out what's fun to like for people to listen to.
Right.
What is interesting to them? What it gets the big ticket? What is interesting? I did like a week-to-week series for Last of Us. They did okay with views, but didn't do amazing. Same with Star Wars. It did okay, but didn't do great. And then the video game nostalgia did wonderful. It's like, all right, well, do more of that.
Right.
Do more of that. And just always trying to figure out ways to make like the best show possible. What's interesting, what's not, adding to it.
Mm-hmm. That makes me bring up another question now that you touch on your audience a little bit.
Yeah.
I asked you about you and your your evolutionary journey as far as your show. But you really do have listeners. Like, you have authentic listeners, right? Yep. From your perspective, what has the evolutionary journey been like for your audio listeners?
Ooh. This is a good time for audio listeners to comment. Their own journey.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard to say because I'm not a listener. You know, like I observe the listeners from my perspective.
Yeah, but you said, you talk about one topic and it's like, that's okay. But talking about video games, that seems to pique a lot of people's interest.
Yep.
So there's a shift.
Mm-hmm. I'm having trouble trying to figure out how to answer this question. Like the audience's journey.
I wouldn't say that you're answering for them. Again, I say from your perspective as the host.
Okay, as the host of what? Yeah, I just learned like what I see the numbers, right? I see like what gets interest, what doesn't get interest, and it's always interesting to see like what does get interest. Like the D&D episode, I'm not really that big into D&D, but big draw into it.
Yeah.
The pilot episode was our biggest draw yet. And that's what I've been told is what's going to happen because people check out the pilot episode.
Yeah.
And realizing how true that statement is, I would have put a lot more effort into the pilot episode and make it a lot better because that was more just getting my toes in the water, figuring out how to talk, how to make it a show.
Yeah.
Whereas now, having like our episodes where it's like we're just talking back and forth, having an actual conversation, it's interesting because like some of those episodes, because we had our pivot episode where we just like, oh, we're gonna pivot, we're gonna do this, now we're gonna do this, and that was a big draw too. So it's weird knowing like what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
TikTok is probably a better example because like those vary a lot. Like my best video so far is me just explaining the Don't Evolve Me guide, and I'm like, do more of that.
Yeah. But I like your reviews. Like every so often they pop up in my feed. Yeah. Which, by the way, you son of a bitch! How dare you continue to disrespect Iron Man 2? You thought I wasn't gonna come at you? You thought I wasn't? I'm at your neck.
Ernie's already come at me.
That's Ernie. We talk about me, man. Rose gold here.
Are you mad that I didn't call you out instead?
No. Although when you said Ernie, I was like, what about me? I have qualms too. I was there when that conversation took place. I put in my 2 cents. All
right, well, I'll get you back on the next one. I think I have Captain Marvel up next. Wait, no, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I didn't care for that one. I did not care for Ant-Man and the Wasp. I didn't care for Quantumania was okay. And the only reason that I say that is because Jonathan Majors performance.
He was great.
Yeah.
Hopefully he comes back.
Hopefully. I don't know.
I talk about that topic way too much. Whether or not he's going to come back or not come back.
It's tough. It's tough. Like Willie.
Well, he seems innocent.
I'm not touching it, man. I'm not going to touch it.
I don't know. Like from the court proceedings, he was like innocent. Mm-hmm. There was evidence that suggested the girlfriend like and him were good. Mm-hmm. And like it was her. Like he called the cops because of her. Mm-hmm. But then it turned into the cops thinking it was him. I don't know. We're off track anyway.
Kind of. I mean, we were focusing on your audience and the audio journey. How is your audience involved?
Yeah.
I do have another question for you now bringing this up. But before that, is there anything else that you want to expand on as far as what the evolutionary journey has been for your audience?
Yeah, I don't know how much more I can expand on it.
Okay.
It's hard because I'm not the audience.
I get you.
I am the
host. You are the master of this domain.
Mm-hmm. But I will say this, though. If anyone wants to expand the journey and like talk about it from that perspective, because it's hard for me to talk about like the audience's evolution. Mm-hmm. Because it's hard to talk about the audience because we're still growing, we're still kind of like small. There's different peaks and valleys here and there, and it is slowly growing, but slowly is the key. We're getting there. TikToks are helping a lot.
All right, to the audience, do you have a name for your people at all?
The Dem family.
The Dem family.
Dem fans. I don't know. I'm just going with Dem because that's like it works.
To the Demis. Let me holler at you for a second. To the Demis. So with this question, I asked Jake what his evolutionary journey has been with Don't Evolve Me, and then it is presented to you guys. What has your journey been like listening to the podcast? Leave a comment wherever you're listening to this. If you're on social media, if you're on Twitter, you on Twitter yet?
Is Twitter alive?
Yeah. Are you kidding?
I thought it was X now.
It's still called Twitter. We'll talk after this.
I'm on Threads.
Tight.
I'm on Threads. I'm on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm on TikTok. I got a TikTok.
You're on YouTube. Finally. That's right. Leave a comment on YouTube, you guys. What's been your evolutionary journey on Don't Evolve Me? I'd love to know. We would love to know. So now, the whole Jonathan Majors situation, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily wanting to touch on that situation, but more of this. I like that dude.
Yeah.
I think he's a solid dude, and I think he has a range in terms of acting.
He's an amazing actor.
Right, phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I remember watching him like be in interviews, and it went from like 1 or 2 interviews within a month or so to like nonstop. You saw him everywhere.
Yeah.
Like he was becoming famous.
Yeah, he was
Like
huge.
quick. But when I saw that, I said, this is happening way too fast. If this continues to go that it's going, something bad is going to happen. Lo and behold, like this is right around Quantumania was dropping, Rocky 3, or not Rocky 3, excuse me, Creed 3, all of those like big hit
It
movies.
was coming right after those. I believe it was like March or April.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like mid-March this was happening. And like the news came out and I was like, oh shit. Like it was big for the fact that like he was just coming off 2 big movies, Creed 3, Quantumania.
Yeah.
The world now knows who Jonathan Majors is.
And he had, what was it called? Invincible, I think it was. No, I can't remember. He played a pilot. That was in November.
He was in the HBO show. I'm blanking on the show.
Oh, Love Country.
Yeah, Love Country.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the main character from Love Country that got canceled. After the first season.
Yeah, that was like his his big break.
It felt like a breakout role, but
Yeah.
really I feel like Loki, the season finale, and like how he played He Who Remains.
Yep.
His role, I think, really like that was his first glimpse to like casual audiences, and I think they were so enamored by him, and I think Marvel was like so enamored by him as well that they're like, hey, we're gonna take a whole Phase 5 and Phase 6, and we're gonna focus it on that guy.
Yeah. I remember reading.
All
I'm sorry,
of
go
this
ahead.
was happening, and then boom, out of nowhere,
Just
this happens. It's like I had one of 2 thoughts. I'm like, if this is true, I really hate like how many like Hollywood like famous people that like are amazingly talented, but then turn out to be scummy. Or 2, if this is false,
yeah.
I really hate I just hate that this is a thing. It seems like, hey, if you're famous, like something's gonna happen, some kind of scandal's gonna happen. And not to every like actor or actress, but it seems like it's there.
There's a pattern. You kind of see it.
Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, with the whole cancel culture, sometimes I agree that like, hey, us as a society, we're like, we just don't want to see any more of you for like reasons. But sometimes I'm like, I don't agree with that. Like Louis C.K. did something really stupid.
Yeah.
He, but like his reaction to it. So for audiences who don't know who, like Louis C.K., comedian, usually plays some comedic roles, has his own show. One night, 2 fans, I believe, or people that like didn't know him but like were really big fans of his, they hung out in New York in his apartment, and he asked them if he can show off his dick.
Which is very bizarre.
It is bizarre. I'm assuming he was drunk. And they said yes. And so he showed him his dick. And afterwards, they're like, yeah, we were uncomfortable. Like, they came out and saying they were uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, it was this big scandal. And this is when, like, all the scandals seemed like it was coming out. So it was like one scandal on top of, like, many scandals that came out. I think Kevin Spacey was also at the time. It's really, now all his villain roles, it's like, oh, he's just a villain in real life. He's not even acting.
Yeah.
He's just being scummy. He's just being himself.
Just being himself.
But Louis C.K. situation, that happened. Girls came out. And I just remember his apology tweet. And his tweet was basically, it showed awareness. Like, hey, like, yes, I got consent for it. But I didn't realize that, like, I'm a man. I have power. I have a responsibility. I'm a man. I'm in a position of power. I'm a famous celebrity. They're hanging out with me because I'm a famous celebrity. And so when I asked them to show him my dick, I didn't realize that like they didn't say yes because they wanted to see it. They said yes because I'm a man in a position of power. They didn't want to upset me.
Yeah.
and I did something stupid and foolish, like a well-rounded apology letter. He already lost his show. He already lost like all the roles, and now I don't think he's ever really made much of a comeback. Like I don't see him in the mainstream.
No.
At all.
No.
And I'm like, he deserves consequences, but I'm like, I don't think he deserves to be canceled. He did something stupid, but he also had the right approach to it. Now take Deshaun Watson. This man was accused by 27 different women for sexually harassing him. Are you familiar with the Deshaun Watson scandal? Oh, you're way out of it?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Quarterback for the Texans. Was a quarterback for the Houston Texans.
Oh, wait. Yeah.
And then he was... When he would get massages, he wouldn't wear any clothes or... Like, basically stuff happened.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stories. It seems like, to me, that he was a sex addict that found out that, hey, famous football star getting massages, I can probably get some sex out of this. That was my interpretation of it.
Sure.
But his whole apology isn't really an apology. It's more of I'm not that big of a scumbag, I'm not that big of a scumbag. It wasn't that true, but I'm also sorry for it to happen. Like, it's a mixed bag where Louis C.K. was like, hey, this is what I did. I understand why it's bad. Like, this is what happened. This was my reasoning. Like, but it was bad. It was my bad. Whereas, and he's canceled. He's, I think, still canceled. And then Deshaun Watson was like, yeah, well, I didn't really do those things, but I apologize anyway. He's not canceled. He's still the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
Sure.
Or Ezra Miller. That man should.
Yeah, that's a whole nother.
That man should have been canceled. I'm like, I'm not for cancel culture, but I'm like, that one made sense to me. And yet here he is starring in The Flash.
Which did
money.
Yeah.
Money. They didn't want to, this movie's expensive. They didn't want to not show it after it being super expensive. They still lost money anyway, so it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
So just the idea of who gets canceled, who doesn't get canceled. To me, I feel like it needs the situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Louis C.K. probably shouldn't have been canceled. Does deserve a lot of heat for what he did, but not canceled. But then you have Ezra Miller or Deshaun Watson. Ezra Miller, you're like, yeah, that one makes sense. He can go away for a little bit.
Well, I can't speak on cancel culture. There's not much that I can say. I just see it as I don't even want to say consequence, but the reaction to what is taking place, to getting to a certain point. Talking about, just going back to Jonathan Majors, right, and how it just seemed as though he became famous overnight.
Yeah. Instant.
And then this one thing happened, and then shit just went sideways. From my perspective, I look at that as, going back to our whole conversation about don't involve me, right? It's one thing to have somebody force you to evolve, and it's another when you want to evolve the way you choose.
Yep.
But what about, what happens when... Not so much that you're forced to evolve, but you're rushed.
Yeah, the situation forces you to evolve.
Mm-hmm. Quickly.
I mean, you run a podcast, I run a podcast. It's essentially what if fame came too quickly?
Yeah.
Or you became famous overnight. You have to essentially evolve to a person who is able to adapt that. And I know, it's tough. Fame is a curse and a gift all in one.
Sure.
Gift, obviously, everyone dreams to be famous. Everyone wants to, hey, I know who Jake Sherping is. I know who Rose Gold is.
Yeah.
You want to, the idea of that is pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
But the downside of this, and Michael Cera was talking about this on an interview, where becoming noticeable and everyone recognizes you changes everything. Because now you can't go on the street without someone wanting to talk to you. Hey, I know that person. I know who that is. It's Michael Cera.
Yeah.
So, in a way, you have to evolve. And if you're let's say somebody who, assaults somebody on a daily basis, you can't quite do that. You got to evolve and change.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case, but you also, or just the fact that like you have to deal with like people are looking to take advantage of you. Like you're now on a pedestal, you have money, like, hey, I know you, I can probably get some money off of you.
Yeah.
Doing whatever, whether it's faking an assault or faking
something.
Yeah.
It's doing something. Yeah.
It's a forced evolution. Like no one individually is forcing you, but the society is.
Yeah.
And it's kind of society in general pushes everyone to evolve a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
If like I'm sure everyone notices that like men, women, they act a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's getting into like gender politics, like talking about gender. But same with like any demographic, Society pushes you to act a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And Don't Evolve Me is essentially just saying to society, like, hey, I am going to evolve the way I want to. I will level up the way I want to. I am going to be me. Now, obviously, if there was forced fame, especially for the podcast, things would have to evolve, right? But it is also the goal that we're working towards.
But is it not at your own pace? I mean, sure, there's a level of success that you want to reach, and there are hurdles that you have to jump. Same time, could you possibly, like, what would it have been like for you if just off of the first episode, it was just gangbusters?
I don't know if I would be able to handle that. Because, like, it's kind of nice being a smaller podcast for the fact that, like, hey, if I fuck up, not many people are going to, like, give me shit about it. Mm-hmm. But if you are immediately famous, if you fuck up, like, a little bit, like, you're going to get people telling you.
Yeah.
You're going to get hundreds, if not thousands of people telling you. I think of it like different streamers who get super popular, and then people are like, hey, your mic sucks, or your sound is awful.
Yeah.
It'd be a forced evolution of sorts, and it would be forced upon you. But that's also part of life as well. Like, hey, you want to be a big podcaster, you want to be this role, you have to level up, you have to evolve. Some people aren't ready for that. Some people are. So it's, you kind of sign up for it. I mean, as the podcasters, you both, like, there's that idea that, like, where we want to go, our viewership, how to get there, and being prepared and ready for the moment for when it comes, because that's all the success stories from what I hear from podcasters, YouTubers, streamers, the successful ones. This is what it's like until they become successful. They're just trying, and then something pops. Yep. And then being ready at the moment to capitalize it. So for me, if it's a certain episode, if it's this episode, we're doing more philosophy episodes. Like if it's the video game one, we're doing more video game. It's just adapting, learning, and moving forward. Mm-hmm. And it's weird because, like, the show is called Don't Evolve Me. But, like, we're constantly looking to improve and progress. And that's what I'm trying to do with this show, is constantly looking to evolve. Even though the show is called Don't Evolve Me. But the mindset, the philosophy is, we're nerdy. We are nerdy individuals. We do what we want to do. We talk about what we want to talk about. And we will change on our own time, on our own pace. Or we will change because some like big force comes in, forcing us to evolve. Yeah. Like if a nuke would drop, perfect, because we just talked about the Fallout video game nostalgia of Fallout. Yeah. The nuke dropped. You gotta evolve. You gotta change. Sometimes it happens in life.
Nice callback, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah. Because you can't be like, no, fuck that. I'm not gonna evolve. It's like, all right, well, you're probably gonna be dead.
Yeah, you're gonna die, dude.
So evolving naturally to like evolving to what you mentally are comfortable with, but also knowing, like, wanting to have that evolution yourself. You ever have it in your career, whether it's podcasting, whether in the mental health field, where you're just not ready for something.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I can talk about this with mental health.
Yeah.
I was ready to be in the field, just as a practitioner, right?
Yeah.
My mindset was, I'm going to work with adults
Yep.
and their mental health. I was not prepared at all, at least in the sense of mental health, to work with children.
Yeah.
So it was like, wow, what are we doing?
And it's very, very different.
Extremely. But it was like you and I, we've had so many conversations about it. So many.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, though, I always had to come down to a decision. It's like, all right, here are your options. You can either stay in this place, continue to gripe or mope about what is, or be open, grind it out, and learn from this thing. I shut the fuck up, and as much as it like sucked at times of working with children, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I learned how to handle them. Not like, I don't know how to say that. like man, these kids, let me tell you about these little It's like I learned how to tend to children. I learned how to hear them, how to make sure that when they speak, they are heard, basically. And to even further that, going back to what you said about, becoming a dad, right? That's an evolution in itself. If I honestly say this, if I didn't work with children, if I didn't do the things that I did, I don't think I would be as good of a dad. And I'm not even a father yet. You know what I mean? Like those things that I've learned, the way of leveling up, that's definitely a part of evolution for me.
Yeah.
So
I will say the field, working with kids in the mental health field, does translate a lot into being like a parent. It is completely different.
Yeah.
Me working with applied behavior analysis, ABA.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who like had kids and worked in ABA, and one of the things that they told me before I had my own kid, having a kid and being like doing ABA, they are different. Like it's not the same thing, and it's not, because like your kid, you have a lot of personal attachments with. But sometimes with like ABA, you have to like, you're thinking strictly behavior. You're not thinking necessarily what's going on in the mind. You're thinking behavior. But with your own kid, you're thinking mind.
Yeah.
You're thinking emotions and feeling. And with the practitioner, you're also thinking. So you have a good, like you have the skills to be a good dad. But your evolution is realizing how to take the emotions of being a dad and your child and putting all the skills together. Yeah. And to creating, the greatest. Because there's a difference between being a clinician and being a parent. There's a pretty big difference.
100%.
Clinician, you're just building those skills. As a parent, you're a lot of different things. You are their comfort. You are their person. You are their leader. Their role model. On top of the fact that you're also like the skill provider, like all these things too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, going back to your question, working in the mental health field, I was not prepared to work with children, but because of the steps that I took, I leveled up and I evolved. I evolved as a practitioner, and I can't really say that I've evolved as a parent yet, because that hasn't happened. But the skills are there, so when the time comes,
you're leveling up to evolve. To be a parent.
Yeah.
Your child being bored is the evolution stone.
Nice.
You're welcome.
That's a bar right there. Yeah.
So like that is the stone. That is the event. So if you're thinking about like what is to mean to evolve, the force evolution is the stone, right? That is the force evolution. Of course, it's somebody doing that to you, or it's just nature. It's the nuclear bomb from Fallout. It's having a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It's fame that just comes out of nowhere and you're not prepared for it, or you weren't expecting that success. Like, that's the evolution stone that forces you to evolve, and it's unfortunate because, like, yes, don't evolve me. I want to evolve my own pace. Sometimes it's not how it is.
Yep.
You don't choose, but you still have to adapt. You have to evolve to the occasion. But for those, like the forced evolution, how many individuals have you known that, like, you're chill with them, they're on the same level as you, and then there's some, like, separation of time, and you come back to them, and they're completely different. But it's not like a genuine difference. They're just like, I'm mature now. I do this.
Only a handful, honestly.
Yeah, I only have a handful too, but I know, like, there's individuals that are like, I'm a mature person. I do mature things. Like, they try to be more grown
business.
business thing. I remember this girl I was dating. I'm like, I'm more mature, and then she ghosted me. It's like that.
Okay.
I feel like the mature thing to do is to tell me why you want to ghost me. Fair enough. Whatever. But, like, there's those people that try to be, it's like a Pikachu pretending to be a Raichu, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to, like, hey, I'm evolved. I'm this. It's like, no, you're a kid. Fucking be a kid. Like, you're a Pikachu. Be a Pikachu. Enjoy being a fucking Pikachu. Because shit gets hard when you're a Raichu.
Yeah. To that, you know how when you're a kid, you do all the things, these little fucking toys as well. Kids imitate adults. They want to be an adult.
Yeah.
A kid who has his little toy lawnmower and is like, oh, I'm cutting grass. Or somebody has a play kitchen, things like that. When you're an adult, you're like, I don't want to do any of this shit. So to what you're saying, it's like, why are you in such a rush to grow up? Like, these are cute. And I don't even mean just kids, but, like, teenagers and stuff. There's somewhere along the way, something goes off in their brain, and they're like, I'm this. I'm going to be this. And it's like, yeah, but why don't you just enjoy being this?
Yeah, just be you.
Yeah.
And, like, be you and enjoy what you become, which you don't know what you're going to become.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's just mindset philosophy, what people want to do. Because I know one of my ex-girlfriends that I had, had her life set from, like, a teenager. I want to go to school. I'm going to get, like, a 4.0 GPA. I'm going to go to college. I want to go be a nurse practitioner. That's it. She did it.
Cool.
She is now that person. She is that role, lives that lifestyle.
Mm.
Whereas, like, I'm the opposite philosophy. I had no fucking clue what I wanted to do. Still feel like I don't have a clue what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be mental health too, because ADHD, I constantly juggling ideas, juggling different ones. Some people know what they want to do, and they want to be that person right away.
Right.
And you'll understand this as a parent too, because me as a parent, I was excited to do all the things with my kid. And I still am in this position. Like, I can't wait till you're 3, 4. We're going to watch all the Marvel movies together. We're going to play all the video games together. We're going to watch you, play softball, play sports. Like, I'm excited for all of that.
Yeah.
And as a dad, you get excited to do these things. However, the infant moments, the baby moments, like, those go so quick.
Yeah.
And I had plenty of people, older people, like, enjoy it while it lasts. Enjoy the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And my philosophy when I talk to people, because I hear this a lot, I'm like, because I get excited for other stages. And I'm like, no, I'm excited for every stage. Even the annoying, like, why stage, which Scott just got out of, thank God. Why? Why? Like, me and Sapphire, like, we're not going to be the parents that just say, because I said so, but fucking
some days, yeah.
It's like, he's like, why? Because I fucking said so.
Just like, cause motherfucker.
Just listen, all right? Just trust me. Trust that I'm doing this, not because I want to be an asshole, but because there is a good reason, but I'm too tired to explain it because I already explained it like 5 times earlier.
Why? God. God.
There'll be moments where you're like, man, I understand why we can't hit children. But fucking hell. Not that I condone child violence. But
no, we here at Don't Involve Me podcast do not condone any sort of violence towards children.
But we understand why you want to.
Yeah.
Because goddamn kids are annoying sometimes.
Don't, but we get it.
If it happens, we're going to mentally be like, we understand. But also, all right, come on, cops.
Yeah.
Do your thing. But yeah, as a parent, you're going to realize that, like, the moments go quick. You're going to enjoy the moments. As a kid, I don't feel like you really know what it's like to reflect.
Yeah.
You're constantly thinking about forward, the future. And then once you get to our age, we're like middle age, we're in the middle of both. Like, we have our future ahead of us, but we also have a lot of the past.
Yeah, which is weird, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
So it's because, like, we're no longer growing up. We are essentially coming back down. We're arguably in our primes or past our primes.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on, like, how you want to go about it. Like, what field.
Sure.
Presidential candidates, man, we're all looking good. We'll do that when we get older, when we're 70. It doesn't matter if I have dementia or anything. I don't remember what's happening. We're good. I try not to be political in the show. It seeps in here and there.
It happens, man.
That one actually could be a diss on Joe Biden, which I think that's who I was thinking of at the time. Anyway.
Hot take.
Yeah, it's just enjoying the moment. Kids don't really realize that they want to grow up. They want to evolve. They want to be the adults without realizing that, like, there's a lot of consequences. There's a lot of cons to being adults. You are responsible.
Yeah.
Responsibility comes with freedom, but it also comes with responsibility. Adulthood comes with responsibilities, but as kids, we dream about the freedom.
Yeah.
But I think the whole point, don't involve me. I'm here talking to you guys. Well, this episode alone, philosophy.
Yeah.
But the episode I just did, I was talking Among Us. We're doing a video game nostalgia on Among Us, a game that's only 5 years old, but feels like it's been dead for 2 years.
Yeah.
Because it basically has. I'm here to talk about things that I love with people that I enjoy. Because, like, that's who I wanted to grow up to be. That was my path. That's what I wanted to do. Whereas society, at least, like, growing up was, no, you go to work, you do your thing, you come back, you get a paycheck, you're burnt out.
Mm-hmm.
This show, I don't know, is like the alternative. I don't want to live that lifestyle. I wanted to do what I want to do. I wanted to evolve at my pace. You don't evolve me. I evolve me.
That's a shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Society doesn't evolve me. I evolve me. Yeah. Welcome to Don't Evolve Me. You don't fucking evolve me. Society doesn't evolve me. I evolve me. But guess what? I don't evolve you. You evolve you. I'm hoping this show helps you evolve. I hope it helps Ro evolve, all the guests. I hope this show helps people evolve to what they want to be.
Yeah.
But I am not forcing you.
That's good. Let's end that there. Let's end it there. That's good.
Best outro yet.
Best outro yet.
All right. Well, we're coming up at the 1 hour mark. Right on the money, too. It's actually really short for me. So that was the episode. Thank you, Ro. Thank you for bringing this bonus episode to my head.
Thanks for having me, man. Always good to be here.
For everyone else, please check out Don't Involve Me the TikTok. Don't Involve Me the Facebook. Don't Involve Me the X.
Twitter.
Is it still Twitter?
It's Twitter.
Everything is X.
I don't want to hear none of that shit. It's Twitter.
I put on the app X and I feel like I'm watching a porno.
Why would you? Twitter. He's also on YouTube.
On YouTube. Instagram.
Threads.
Oh, yeah. You gotta get the threads.
Yeah.
All right, check us out. Please let me know how I'm doing. Or if I'm doing horrible, please just let me know. I like engaging with everybody. Good, positive, all of it. All right, that's the outro. That's the show. Don't evolve me. If you want to evolve the way you want to evolve. We out.